6:43 this morning to some politics. We have new polling this hour to share with you this half hour, a month ahead of our state's primary election, specifically when it comes to the job performance of Governor Inslee and President Biden. Here in Washington state, how is the president doing among voters? Nationally, his approval rating at record low territory. In Washington state, typically blue. President Biden also seeing waning support. You can see a strong bump right after the inauguration, which is typical. The vaccine rollout began. Americans started beating COVID, but his numbers began to sink with the economy. 825 Washington adults surveyed the president's approval rating at 43% this morning in our state, 7 points higher than his national approval rating. How about Governor Inslee? Over the past 2 years, he's really been taking on water. The governor's approval rating sinking from a very high 60% as the state began to beat COVID, but it's all been downhill from there in a sense, leveling out in recent months. 47% approval rating for Governor Inslee this morning. According to our poll, that's 4 points higher than the president. For context, we wanted to check in with our King 5 political analysts, including Gary Locke, former governor of Washington state and U.S. Commerce Secretary and ambassador to China. Scott McClellan served as White House press secretary during the George W. Bush administration. First, here's what McClellan had to say about the governor's approval rating.
Well, I think some of that's impacted by the national mood of voters, right, and Joe Biden's approval ratings. But it's also, and I think we've seen over time that Inslee's approval numbers, particularly among independents, has not been strong.
Well, these are tough times for families. I think there's COVID fatigue. There's concern about crime, homelessness, obviously rising prices. And people want leadership.
We are also tracking other polls this week. This conducted again by King 5, the Seattle Times, the UW, and the Washington State University Murrow College of Communication.